there guys, and welcome back to Air. So, let's just jump right back in. I had to leave MISUZU now. MISUZU had to be left alone, but I could no longer force myself to do that. We're going to embrace her. I hugged MISUZU's body. Her body was searing hot. How much pain does this tiny body have to endure? Yukito-san! MISUZU called my name. I continued to hug her. Listen up. You have to bear with the pain. Because I'm by your side. Because I want to be with you. So please, bear with it for a bit. MISUZU swallowed her breath. What cruel things I was telling her to do. Okay. MISUZU answered amidst her labored breathing. Desire her body. My nose touched the nape of MISUZU's neck. Sorry guys, I'm shifting. Ah! I caught a whiff of her scent. Because she had been bedridden all this time, she smelled faintly of sweat. I faced MISUZU squarely. Though her breathing was labored, she showed no sign of rejecting me. My lips met hers. MISUZU's strength left her and her lips parted. Our wet inner lips touched. We came face to face with each other to get a better kiss. When she became too tired, she moved her lower lip away and took a breath. Then our lips joined again. Our lips probed deep into each other, or probed deep into each other. Sorry, guys. We lost ourselves in that act for a long. All right, so there was an unexpected sex scene. Anyways, let's continue on. Morning came. MISUZU was still naked. Our bodies were still too warm for clothes. The light shone through the curtains and made MISUZU's sweat-covered limbs sparkle. I touched her arm. It was beautiful. I can protect MISUZU like this. I felt as if we wouldn't ever be separated when I thought that way. I kept touching her. MISUZU whispered into my ear. Yukito-san, let's be together forever. Yeah, I'll stick to you even if you get sick of me. Then we'll be together until the end of time. Until the end of time. That was MISUZU's wish. With that, something was set in motion, and that was within me. Wait, what? Oh, okay. I was like, wait, is that the ending? Really? July 30th. I was under the sky. MISUZU was beside me. She was looking at me. Tears streamed down her face. They disappeared into the summer sunlight. Even so, my body wouldn't move. Wait. Even though MISUZU was crying so hard. Yukito-san! MISUZU's face was right in front of me. She looked about to burst out crying again. Ugh. Thank goodness, I thought you wouldn't wake up anymore. There was a blanket covering me. It felt too stuffy. I took it off. The sun had already climbed high into the sky. I tried to pull myself up, but I winced immediately. The pain that erupted from my back paralyzed my whole body. What's happening to my body? What's wrong? It's nothing. Then why do you make a face like that? That's what I look like. She might cry again if I kept avoiding her question. I sat up, leaning against the wall. It didn't seem like I could stand up soon. Go back to bed, I told MISUZU. Don't wanna. MISUZU, go back to bed. I can't leave you alone. I'm alright. Nothing a little sleep won't fix. You can use my bed. Hey, MISUZU, don't put me on the spot. Okay. Here. I lent MISUZU a shoulder and put her back into bed. She still looked uneasy. A bit of sweat had formed on her forehead. She probably strained herself too much for me. Sleep for a bit, I'll stay beside you. Okay. MISUZU finally closed her eyes. I sat down against the wall. MISUZU's lips moved. Yukito-san? What is it? Is it because of me? I couldn't answer her. The cooler hummed like a deep incantation. Both of us were sick. Nothing could be done. Sometime later, I finally heard regulated breathing coming from the bed. She must be dreaming again. I supported myself on the wall with one hand and stood up with great effort. After that, I left MISUZU'S room. I turned on the fan. The blue wings churned up the air in the empty room. The pain in my back didn't leave. I couldn't bear with it and laid down on the spot. What is this? This was different from all the injuries or illnesses I had experienced up till now. It felt almost like the ache of an old wound. I had no idea what was causing this, I thought for a long time. If MISUZU became close to anyone, she'd suddenly burst out crying. Because her behavior was too strange, everybody distanced themselves from her. But now that I knew MISUZU intimately, I understood that it wasn't so simple. That girl was innocent like a child. She was always putting her all into everything, yet MISUZU was always alone. Haruko was the only one with her. It was most likely because of the distance they had kept between themselves. Mother's words flashed through my mind. That was perhaps the part I didn't want to remember the most. The closer the two get, the sicker they'll become. Neither one of them can be saved. What did that imply? Suppose that those who got too close to MISUZU were subconsciously aware of that fact? Were they aware that they would experience pain if they stay with MISUZU? Just like what was happening to me now. Once the illness begins, it'll worsen quickly. Summer had only just begun. I knew what was to come, but I couldn't do anything. I was the closest person to her, yet I couldn't save her. Why couldn't that girl be saved? The act of helping MISUZU would cause her illness to worsen. Finally, the one helping her would also fall ill. Perhaps I had been aware of this all the time. The closer the two get, the sicker they would become, and neither one of them could be saved. Despite that, I continued to stay by MISUZU's side. I wanted to be by her side more than anyone else. The illness had started to take its toll on me. What else could I do? I sat up and looked at the sky. There was only the musty ceiling. Perhaps it was already too late. We had become too close to each other. I looked away from the ceiling. My luggage sat in the corner of the living room. The answer was there all along. The closer the two get, the sicker they'll become. If we distance ourselves, perhaps there was still hope. When my mind cleared, the sun had already set. I packed my belongings for a bed and stood up. I had stayed beside MISUZU last night. It felt like a long time ago. She was standing in the fading sunlight. When she saw me, she smiled contently. "Yukito-san," she spoke to me with a dreamy expression. "I want to go to the beach. I want to play with the sand. I want to race you. I want to splash water." Those were what MISUZU had wished for. Trifling games that other kids had gotten sick of playing. I could not even help her with those simple wishes. "And at the end of the day, we'll say, 'See you tomorrow.' But I have to hold myself back today. Then I'll enjoy myself even more when I do get to go to the beach. MISUZU-chin, fighter!" I said to that smile of hers. I should leave soon. "Huh?" I stayed to earn my bus fare at first. Many things have happened, and I've stayed for too long. "But you haven't earned any money yet." "I don't really need it. Sorry, never needed it to begin with. I just have to walk." "You said you'd always be with me." "That's my fault. I'm sorry for breaking a promise. I can't stay in one place for too long. It's just in my nature." I avoided her gaze. "I thought it was just the beginning for us. I was going to do my best from now on. I want to be with you. I want you to stay with me always." I knew she wouldn't accept my answer, so I told her, "Hey, MISUZU, you're the cause of my pain. You know that, don't you?" "Eh?" "You were always alone. Now you're losing your ability to walk. You know why, don't you? In time, you'll start to feel phantom pain. Then, you'll forget everything. You won't even be able to remember the person most precious to you. On the morning after your final dream, you'll..." I stood speechless for a while. It's because you picked me. The closer we get, I bit my tongue. Sorry. The sicker we become. Neither of us can be saved. If I continue to stay with you, I'll collapse first. That's why I decided to run away from you. I'm going to leave this town and never meet you again. By yourself? Yeah. I thought I could finally be with someone. You still have Haruko, don't you? That's true, but... MISUZU, who had been silent, began to speak. Well, there's no other choice. No other choice. She repeated her own words. I knew it. If I continue to stay with you, I'll collapse first. Once I said that, MISUZU would not try to hold me back. The closer the two get, the sicker they'll become. If that were true, then we had to distance ourselves away from each other. I must keep the same distance as when I first met her, so that MISUZU would not follow me, so that MISUZU could forget about me. That was the only solution that I could think of. When are you leaving? Today. So soon? Yeah, right now. You could stay one more night. I was in pain while you were sleeping. Oh, really? Well, this is goodbye then. Right. You know, Yukito-san? What? This summer break was fun. Oh, goddammit. I am, having such a hard time with this episode, apparently. This summer break that I spent with you was my best one yet. I see. I'm glad that I tried my best. Is that so? You're the first friend I've ever made. Yeah. If you weren't here for me, I'd have given up a long time ago. Idiot. You have to keep trying your best from now on, too. Yeah, you're right. She began laying out cards on her bed. MISUZU was still playing cards even now. I watched her play for a while. This action symbolized MISUZU. I should have played by myself from the start like this. Maybe you're right. But I had fun too. Really? Yeah, it was fun to be with you. I meant what I said. I'm happy too. Well, I'll get going now. Okay. Bye. Okay. Bye-bye, Yukito-san. MISUZU watched me leave with the cards laid out on her lap. Bye-bye. I left the room. What next? Where do I go? I should get away from this house first. I'll leave town either tomorrow or the day after. While I was thinking, I heard a noise behind me. I turned around and saw MISUZU. What's wrong? You know, I had a dream this morning. I was alone and locked up. I was very lonely. The whole time I was waiting for someone to come and save me. She looked straight into my eyes. I want to go with you. I want to go with you, Yukito-san. Can I? I covered my eyes with my hand. You're an idiot. It's not the house I'm trying to get away from. I'm trying to get away from you. I see. You're right. I'm sorry I said something stupid again. Seriously. Well, bye-bye. Take care of yourself. Okay. Make sure you... whoops. Make sure you hang in there. Give your all, even if you're alone. Okay, I'll do my best, even if I'm by myself. You'll be fine, you're a strong girl. Yup, I'm very strong. Good. I placed my hand on her head. Bye. With those last words, I turned away from MISUZU. When I was about to turn a corner and turned around for a final look, MISUZU noticed me and gave me a V sign at me. She was puffing out her chest with her hand extended. That was the last I saw of her. I walked alone along familiar roads. What had I been doing in this town all this time? I had not accomplished anything. I had abandoned everything. If I had known, I wouldn't have come to this town. I wished I had never began my search for the girl in the sky. I decided to quit brooding. I was just going around in circles. I had no other choice. I could only tell myself that. Anyway, I'll wait for the sun to rise first. Tomorrow's problems are for tomorrow. That's how I had lived my life. After coming to that conclusion, I began to search for a place to sleep. July 31st. I passed the whole day in a state of lethargy. Many buses passed me by. Because I was laying on the bench, they all stopped for me. In the end, no one got off. I did not get on, and the bus left. The stifling heat and the exhaust left behind by the bus enveloped me. When I breathed in, the smell of the sea filled my nose, a smell I had gotten used to. The sun continued to beat down on my bare neck. Hot. Nobody in their right mind would go to the next town by foot in this heat. If I had known, I would have left in the night when the weather was was still cool. Besides, I'm starving. Everything began here. I recalled the day I got off the bus in this town. I tried to sell my antics to some kids passing by, but they kicked my puppet and sent it flying. I got overtaken by a grandma, lost consciousness, and woke up in a fishing union. If this goes on, I'll be doing the same old things again. And then I met her, on the seawall. MISUZU and I met for the first time. That was something that could not be repeated. In the end, I wasn't able to bring MISUZU to the beach. That was no longer my duty. I looked in the direction of the sea breeze. Let's stop thinking about it. I won't set foot in this town again. I won't see MISUZU again. My health was getting better. My feet felt light. Perhaps MISUZU has already completely recovered by now. I stood up, but I sat back down again. I repeated that many times. The buses stopped and went. Did I fall asleep? The sound of children woke me up. I turned to look and saw a little girl playing in the center of a circle with friends. It was a common scene. I could find this in any town, but that girl's smile looked like MISUZU'S. Because MISUZU'S too childish for her age. She kept laughing, surrounded by all her friends. I watched on. Even this normal life was out of MISUZU'S reach. It was what she had always wished for, but she failed to attain it. But she was able to get a little taste of a normal, but was she able to get a little taste of a normal life when I was with her? Her mother had left her, I had left her. Now that she's alone, what is she thinking about now? I hope she's not crying, is she? But that girl always has a smile on her face. She won't cry no matter how difficult it is. I closed my eyes once more. A picture of the sky materialized before me. I heard a voice. Want to come with me? Oh wait, whoops. Want to come with me? It was my mother. She was inviting me, who had been alone all this time, to go on a journey with her. In my hand was my puppet. The joyous voices of children continued unabated. I closed my eyes again. Those sounds of laughter and the memories of my childhood became rolled into one. I was at a street in town. A crowd of people had gathered. I slipped between the legs of the adults and emerged at the front. Before me was a scene right out of a fairy tale. Balls, knives, mirrors, ribbons, clocks. Numerous objects floated, flew about, and spun in midair. It looked almost like a tiny circus. A woman stood in the center of it all. In rhythm to the woman's dance, the props paraded in the air infused with life. I watched transfixed amidst the raucous cheer and the stink of sweat. A miniature world like a miniature dream. When everyone else had left, the woman turned to speak to me. Hello. She was my mother. I had been left in the care of an old temple all this time. My mother, who was only kin, had entrusted me to the temple and disappeared by herself. Hey, I'm Mom. I'm your mother. I did not know what to make of that. This puppet can make people laugh and make them happy. Here, hold it. Make it move. You do it like this. Touch it with a finger. She pressed my finger onto the puppet. Wish, and it will come true. Wishes will come true. The puppet did not move. What are you thinking about now? Do you want to make people laugh? If you don't do that, it won't move. Don't just think about moving it. Think about what you want to achieve by moving it. I had no idea what she was talking about. I wasn't able to move the puppet. Yukito, come here for a bit. There are many children around the same age as you here. Take this puppet. Use your power to make them laugh. Because I can't do it. Now go. I did not see the point of it. Even if I was thrown in their midst, I wasn't able to make the puppet move. Yukito. When everyone had left, she hugged me. Don't you want to make others laugh? I love doing that. I want to make everyone I meet laugh. If that were really true, she must be incredible. After that, my mother did her very best to teach me something. Up in the sky, there's a girl with wings. She has been there since long ago. She is there even now. In the same air, she continues to feel the wind with her widespread wings. Up there, the girl is having the same dream over and over again. The girl is always alone. She fades away before she has the chance to grow up. She keeps dreaming the same sad dream. I've always been traveling. I want to find the girl in the sky. My mother and my grandmother had searched for her as well, and all of us found her. Each time, it left us with a scar in our hearts. But Yukito, I won't force you to do the same thing. I want you to find your own happiness, because that is the purpose of life. Do you understand me, Yukito? A month passed. My mother told me this. I'm going to go back to my journey. This is how I make a living. Making people laugh is my reason for living. Suppose if you still think of me as your mother, I can take you along. But you must make the decision, because I don't think I have the right to decide for you. The first month I spent with my mother. Within this month, she was desperately trying to teach me something. Did I learn anything from her? No, nothing at all. I wasn't any different now as compared to when I was alone. It was the morning she was due to leave. My mother had finished preparing for her journey, and she was standing with her back to the morning sun. I looked at her while still dressed in my sleeping clothes. I'm going. Are you staying? Or are you coming with me? Want to come with me? I nodded my head. I was still a boy, still ignorant of the ways of the world. I decided to follow my mother. The journey I took with her, that did not even last a year. The moment we arrived at a small town, my mother would quickly lay out her props and begin her street performance. I felt proud when both adults and children looked on with wonder. At night, I slept beside her, my mother's warmth. She was my first kin. I borrowed the puppet from her and began to train my powers. At first, I did not know how to do it at all, but my mother drilled it into me. One night, the puppet finally moved on its own. That's a job well done. My mother patted my head. I just continued to move the puppet with all my heart. I wanted to see my mother smile at me. That was the beginning of our parting. It was a summer night. The firewood was burning. Mother spoke to me with a steady voice. The girl told me that she wanted to go to the beach, but I wasn't able to take her there. She had so many things she wanted to do, but I couldn't do anything for her. Summer had only just begun. I knew what was to come, but I couldn't do anything. I was the closest person to her, yet I couldn't save her. She mouthed each word carefully. The girl will have dreams. In the beginning, she will dream of the sky. The dreams will start going back to the past. Those dreams will eat away at the girl. There were words that I didn't understand, but I listened carefully. I understood that she was trying to tell me something important. At first, she will lose her ability to walk. Next, she will experience phantom pain. And then, the girl will forget everything. She'll be unable to remember even the person most precious to her. The morning after her final dream, the girl will die. She stopped talking. She seemed to be holding back her emotions. The closer the two get, the sicker they'll become. Neither of them can be saved. So that girl told me to leave her. She was so strong and kind. Because of that, Yukito, I want you to save her this time. You're the only one who can save her. She held up the puppet. This puppet is embedded with unfulfilled wishes. My mother and my grandmother had done the same thing. Before their powers started to weaken, they sealed all their powers in this puppet. It was in order to release the wishes when the time was right. That's why I'll also become one with those wishes. She looked straight into my eyes. Yukito. Once she called me, I could not look away for some reason. You will now forget everything that I've just said. That's also one of the powers that I inherited. If you can't recall what I said, then our wishes will end with you. I wasn't supposed to do this, but this was my selfish wish as a failure of a mother. I want you to decide for yourself the path you want to take. She placed the puppet in my hand. From now on, this belongs to you. You're free to do whatever you please with it. You can just use it to make money. You can stop traveling. You can also throw this puppet away. You can also forget about the girl in the sky. But Yukito, I'm sure that the time will come when you'll recall everything, because your blood is drawn to hers. You will definitely find the girl in some town one day. She will be a kind and strong girl. And suppose if you really want to save her no matter what, then wish upon this puppet with all of your heart. I will always be with you. Until then, something unbelievable happened. My mother's body slowly became transparent right in front of me. It was as though she never existed to begin with. Farewell. In her final moments, she smiled brightly at me. Then she disappeared. When I came to, there was no one there. Only the tiny puppet remained. The fire lulled its tongue, indifferent to all that had happened. I couldn't remember anything. My mother must have abandoned me. At my age, that was the only answer I could arrive at. With puppet in hand, I searched for my mother. Day after day, I looked for her. It had only begun as a journey to find my mother. I wanted to see my mother smile again, that was all. When I accepted that my mother was no longer around, the purpose of my journey changed. I remembered bits of what my mother taught me. There is a girl in the sky. She is bound by a never-ending sadness. So I decided that I wanted to make that girl laugh. With that new purpose in mind, I began walking. What I lost that day, I should have tried to recover it. However, I began to see my puppet as nothing more than a tool to eke out a living. It became something used to make money off the parents of others. How many summers had passed since then? In this town I met a girl who was all alone. But I'm gonna end it right here because it's so close to the end I can feel it. Oh gosh. But yeah, I've gone on for like over 30 minutes now, so I'm gonna end it right here. So thank you all for watching, and if you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. I'm still crying, don't mind me. And I will see you guys in the next video. So bye-bye!